Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're cutting through the noise to give you the key insights into, well, what's really happening in the NBA right now.
Yeah, and today our mission is pretty focused. For you, the listener, we're going to hit the East first. We'll look at Orlando's big statement win, then figure out what's going on with the Raptors.
And after that,
We have to talk about Oklahoma City. Are we watching a truly historic season unfold? Is maybe a triple crown even on the table?
okay, so if you want to get smart fast on which teams are for real and which might just be, a product of their schedule, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to pull out all the key details for you. Let's start with the Magic then. They're off to the Cup semifinals in Vegas, but that quarterfinal game against the Heat, wow, it started like a complete and total train wreck for them.
Oh, it was a disaster. Miami just exploded out of the gate with a 15-0 run.
And it got worse, right? They're up 24 at one point. I mean, that's more than a slow start. That feels like a knockout punch.
It does. So the question is, how did they absorb that kind of punch, a 16-point deficit, and not just survive, but actually win the game?
So what's the answer?
I think this win was definitive proof of concept for Orlando. This wasn't a win about skill. It was a win about their identity.
Their identity being defense and toughness.
Exactly. This team's core is defense and just pure mental resilience. And the sources prove it because they won despite losing, I mean, almost every traditional physical battle.
You mean like points in the paint?
Yeah, they were outscored in the paint. They lost the second chance points battle. They gave up more fast break points. The fact they overcame all that confirms that their defensive scheme is it's truly elite. It lets them hang around even when nothing else is working.
You really felt that psychological part. When you're down 20-4, the game feels over. But the way they stopped the bleeding was so key.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking of that Jalen Suggs play. He's clearly hurting, but he gets that steal, gets to the line, and then right after, Anthony Black gets that transition dunk. It felt like it settled everything down.
It was a necessary counterpunch. You can't win a game in the first quarter, but you can absolutely lose it. And if that lead gets to, say, 22, 24 points, it's statistically over, yeah, especially for a team like Orlando. But the real difference in the game came down to geometry, just the three-point line.
Okay, what does the number say?
Orlando was incredibly efficient. They shot 47% from three, 15 of 32. Meanwhile, Miami was just ice cold, 28%. That's a huge gap.
And the guy who really drove that was Desmond Bane.
Yeah.
37 points, tying his season high. He was just unconscious from three.
Bane wasn't just good in this game. He was absolutely essential. You have to remember the context here.
Right, no Franz Wagner.
No Wagner, who's a huge piece for them. And maybe more importantly, Paolo Banchero. He scored 18, but he did not look right. The sources said he looked slow.
What does that mean in tactical terms? Less burst to the rim.
Exactly. Less burst, maybe a bit slow on his defensive switches. He's clearly working his way back from something. So Bane had to step into that void, be that second attacker, that guy who can just create a shot out of nothing.
So when you put it all together, the turnovers, key guys out, or playing hurt, the sources are calling this a warning shot. Does that feel right to you?
I think warning shot is kind of a cliche. I'd go further. This feels more like a foundational win.
How so?
What the Magic proved is that their floor is incredibly high because of that defense and resilience. You have to actively kill this team to beat them. They won't beat themselves. And that makes them a legitimate problem for anyone in the playoffs.
That is a powerful statement. Okay, so let's pivot from a team with a high floor to one whose floor seems to have, completely collapsed. The Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, what is going on there?
They lose to the Knicks, 117-101. It's their fourth straight loss. And just last week, we were talking about them as a potential top 4 seed.
And now they're sliding fast. The issue is, and it's a recurring one, they have these long, long stretches where the offense just goes completely stagnant. It's like the lights just turn off.
You saw it in that Knicks game. They were great in the first quarter, right? A 39-35 shootout.
Brilliant. And then the second quarter happens. They score 13 points. 13. They lose the quarter by 21. The game was over right there. You just can't recover from an offensive cratering that bad.
And you have to give the Knicks credit. Jalen Brunson was just stellar, 35 points. And Josh Hart was the X factor. He hit 4 threes, and just completely blew up Toronto's defensive game plan.
Absolutely. And then you have to factor in the injuries for Toronto. They were missing R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly.
And the difference with Barrett is kind of staggering, isn't it?
It really is. It shows how fragile their whole rotation is. With him, the Raptors are 12-5. Without him, they're 3-5.
Wow.
And for those of you who follow the betting lines, they're 1-7 against the spread without him.
And let's just quickly explain that for anyone new to it. Against the spread means how a team does against the expectations set by odds makers. A 1-7 record means they are consistently failing to even meet that perceived level of play.
Exactly. It tells you that losing just one or two guys completely destabilizes them. Their whole offense just bogs down into isolation plays and those cold streaks we talked about.
So let's talk about their record then. They're 15-11. Is that real, or is it, built on sand?
I think you have to be skeptical. That 15-11 record feels a little bit fraudulent is the term I've seen, maybe a bit inflated.
Because of their schedule.
Yeah, you drill down, and they're only 6-7 against teams at or above .50, and here's the real kicker. 3 of those 6 wins were against a Cleveland team that was so shorthanded the league actually fined them for resting starters.
So you take those away, and their record against good teams looks pretty bad.
It looks really bad. So yeah, the skeptics are right. They are fading fast, and if they don't fix this offensive volatility, they could easily end up just fighting for a spot in the play-in tournament.
Which is a world away from where they thought they'd be. Okay, from a team with a low offensive floor, let's go to a team that seems to be operating in a completely different dimension.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
23-1. It's just, it's a ridiculous record.
Yeah.
So we have to ask the big question. Is this a historic season in the making? And who can actually stop them?
Right now, they are just in a league of their own. And it's not just the record. The underlying numbers are even scarier.
You're talking about their net rating.
Their schedule-adjusted net rating, yeah. They are 3 full points better than the second-best team in the league.
And for our listeners, net rating is just points scored per 100 possessions, minus points allowed per 100. So being 3 points better than anyone else is.
It's a chasm. It's a massive gap. They aren't just winning games. They are systematically dismantling their opponents.
And it's not just the system, it's the players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing like an MVP. Jalen Williams is taking this huge leap.
And Chet Holmgren is the real deal. His defensive impact, the rim protection, it allows them to play their 5-out offense without giving anything up on the other end. I mean, they're favored by double digits almost every night now.
This level of dominance, it brings up that crazy hypothetical, right?
Yeah.
The Triple Crown, winning the NBA Cup, best regular season record, and the NBA championship.
And potentially one guy, SGA, winning MVP, Finals MVP, and Cup MVP.
That would be the definition of a historic, flawless season.
It would rewrite the books. But the conversation has to shift from if they can do it to, well, what could actually stop them?
And there are 2 potential answers, right?
2 things, yeah. The first one is the obvious one, injuries. This roster has had some injury-prone tendencies in the past, and that's the one thing that can just completely undo a season like this.
Okay, that's the external factor. What's the tactical weakness? The thing a good coach could exploit in a 7-game series.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because it's a little counterintuitive. Strategically, to beat them, you have to play a near-perfect game. No turnovers, great execution. But they give up the 3rd most three-point attempts in the entire league.
Wait, really? With how dominant they are defensively, they give up that many threes.
They do. It seems to be a calculated risk. They prioritize protecting the paint at all costs, funneling everything to Holmgren, and they basically dare you to beat them from the outside.
And so far, no one has been able to do it consistently.
So far. The theory is most teams just aren't good enough shooters to sustain it for 48 minutes, but that's a massive vulnerability against the truly elite shooting teams you're going to face deep in the playoffs.
Right. If you run into a team that gets hot with a coach who's willing to just commit to launching threes all game,
that defensive scheme could unravel really, really quickly. And that's the whole tension here. They're the favorites for sure. But history is full of dominant teams that had one specific weakness that a smart opponent finally figured out how to punish.
So their path to history is paved with those potential 3-point landmines.
Absolutely. Their ability to adapt or not adapt to that will define their entire season.
That's a fascinating way to look at it. So we've seen the Magic confirm their defensive identity. The Raptors show their offensive flaws are systemic. And the Thunder, well, the Thunder are on a historic pace, but with one massive question mark hanging over their defense. It's going to be a fascinating second half of the season.
It really is. And You should keep an eye on how these high-stakes cup games can really reveal a team's character and what they're truly built on for the long haul.
Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Spotify, please leave 5-star review. Will help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.